What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is Mexican Dynasties Season 1, Episode 2. Now, there have been some mixed reviews on Mexican Dynasties in my comments. Some people feel like it's full of stereotypes and they're not that crazy about it. And for that I say it probably is, but reality TV is full of stereotypes. I mean, look at some of the shows that have predominantly black characters. Okay. And then I had people, I said that I didn't want to try to pronounce the names because I didn't want to say them wrong and it be disrespectful. So some people felt like spelling the names in my comments. I know how the names are spelled. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. And I don't want to mispronounce and people be like, oh, look at her just fucking up. The more I hear it, the better I'll get. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you had spelled it phonetically, that might have helped me. But just spelling the names again don't help. They spell the names on the show. They on the screen. Anyway, so let's get to this episode. We're talking about the party the night before. You know, the brother and sister duo, they're funny. They're at the park, you know, and they're kind of talking about how things went down at the party. They said, you know, Jenny, sorry. Yeah. Jenny seemed like she was a little jealous when Fernando and Alon, I gotta get these names, were singing, you know. And it does seem like there's some rivalry with that whole family. So let's break down the families, okay? So with Fernando and Alon and Adon, they're brothers. And we talked about this on last week's episode. But it seems like there's just a lot of, you know, Alon felt like the family didn't support him. He had to go out on his own, make his own way. They sort of kicked him out the group when he decided to get married. And he sort of has a chip on his shoulder about that whole situation, about how easy he perceives Alon's life versus how he had to live his life when he decided to marry his wife. Now, I don't know why the family cut him off. I mean, they seem to be in like a decent place now. But there definitely was something else there. You know, there was a lot more to that story, I think, than what we're getting. But we see where Alon and Jenny, that's the husband and wife, signed a record contract with a pretty reputable record company, it seems like. And they left their children back home in Florida so they could go to Mexico and make this happen, work on this album. So they're staying, that's why they're staying with their parents for the long term so that they could, you know, get this album together. And the big conflict with Adon is this voice thing. Now, he got past the first round of the auditions for The Voice, for Mexico's version of The Voice. But the problem is the contract that they have to sign. And his father read through the contract. You know, his father's a big pop star. You know, he's like, you know, old school pop star. And his dad was like, look, this is a great opportunity for you. However, you signing this contract is you signing away pretty much your music forever. In perpetuity is the language that they use in the record company. And not only is it anything he does from here on moving forward, they have the rights to all his old music. And he's somebody who's already made music and put music out, and you know, he's already done some things in his life. And his father was like, look, this is a 45-page, you know, contract, and a whole lot of this stuff is buried in here. He said, but I read it, and I'm telling you, this is not the opportunity for you. He said, this contract is written for a novice, for somebody who's never done anything. But for you, you have a lot to lose because you already have music out there and you've already made money off of that music. And you signing this contract is now giving this show the right to a percentage of any music you make for the rest of your life. And it made me think about like all of these American Idol artists and all these voice artists. It made me think about what they are actually signing when they sign these contracts and what they're giving away. The Voice, the Mexico version of The Voice can't be unique. All of these people are signing these types of contracts, and it makes you wonder, you know, makes you wonder about this stuff. And so he has a conflict. That's his conflict for the whole show. Is should he, because he wants to do it. He's like, look, I think this is my opportunity. I want to be global. I want to be, Harry Styles. And I think this is my opportunity to do it. Him and his brother actually get into a really bad argument. And they're basically, it's a dick contest. It's like, who's got more? He's like, well, how much money have you made off of your music? I've made $25,000 in my lifetime. And I'm like, wow, that's not really a lot, but okay. And, the brother is like, well, I just signed a really big record deal. Like, what are you talking about? You still live at home with your parents and you don't have a job. And Alon was like, that is hurtful. Adon. He was like, that is hurtful. Why would you say that? Why would you say I live at home? He was like, in our culture, we have reverence for the elderly. And I think he's missed that. And I'm like, no, he ain't missed that. Having reverence, living with, and not growing up are two totally different things. Like, what you doing don't have nothing to do with having reverence for the elderly. You just living at home because life is easy at home. You got a maid, you got a butler, you have a cook. You know what I'm saying? Like, life is good for you living at home. And there's nothing wrong with having a dream. And there's nothing wrong with your parents supporting that dream. But, excuse me, y'all, I had to turn my heater off. But in the interim, don't get mad because people see from the outside looking in like, well, you're 27 years old, you live with your parents, you don't have a job. Like, we get it that your goal is to be, and that's what the brother was saying. The brother was like, look, I've always wanted to do music too, but I had children and I had to take care of my children. So yeah, I found another way of making money while I still pursue my dream. And, the brother was like, because he's in construction, but he's not just like in construction. Like, his company takes care of, like, he said he's over like $20 million deals. Like, it's not like he's out, working for $10 an hour on a construction site. Like, he runs a company. And he started off there, but he built his business up. And, of course, the brother was like, you what do you say? You're constructing things. And he was like, I'm not constructing things. So, anyway, their argument was it was weird. But the daughter, the wife, Jenny, she sort of put her 2 cents in. And eventually, by the end of the episode, because what they did was they sent the contract to their lawyers. And they were like, look, if the show is willing to make some changes, then cool. But if they're not willing to bend or willing to adjust anything, then we can't work with this. And they weren't willing to do it. And so Alon finally said, well, Adon. He finally said, well, if they're not willing to make any type of adjustment, then I can't do it. Like, I can't give away what I've already done. And I think that's a bit much. But thank God that your father has been in the industry and your father read through that contract. Like, because if not, you'd have been stuck. So that's them. All right, let's talk about the mother-daughter duo. Now, remember the mom, Raquel. Remember, she's like the Joan Rivers. She has like a fashion police show. And let me tell you who Raquel is. Raquel is my grandmother. And what I mean by that is, God rest her soul, she's passed away now. But people get to a certain age. And I can't speak for all y'all's family. I can speak for my own. There's a certain age that you get to where you just feel like I can say whatever the fuck I want to say. And oh well. And my grandmother was one of those people. There was no gatekeeper between her brain and her mouth. Whatever she thought, it came out, and you deal with however you deal with it. My grandmother would say to me all the time, she said, you used to have such a cute little figure. What happened? I'm like, damn, Grandma, you calling me fat? I mean, I am fat, but damn, Grandma. That's the kind of stuff she would say. She would tell perfect strangers who didn't ask for her opinion about things. We'd be in the store, and she telling people how to take care of their kids. And if we'd be in a grocery store, and she sees somebody's cart full of a bunch of, like, processed food, and they have a child, she would tell them, that is just pure sugar. That's not good for the babies. You should buy more, da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, Grandma, you can't tell these people how to shop for their kids? Like, that's who she was. That is who Raquel is. Raquel does not have any cut cards. Raquel says what she thinks. Whatever she thinks, it comes out her mouth, and you just deal with it. And she's at an age in her life where you ain't gonna. What you gonna say back to her? You ain't gonna say nothing. So Raquel, we know from last week's episode, Raquel lost her husband recently. So a lot of people are really going out of their way to make sure that they include her in things, but that they're also reverent to her situation. So Oscar, that's the brother and sister duo. Oscar and Paulina, I think, is the sister. They're having, the mom lives with Gabriella. Yeah, Paulina. Gabriella's mom lives with Oscar because their father passed away last year. And their mom plays canasta. So she's having a canasta party to invite Raquel, Maria, who's Fernando's wife. Paulina's going to play. And they're going to play canasta. And the theme is gold. You know, he wants everybody to wear everything gold. But it's just their way of including and just trying to reach out to Raquel because they know what it's like. Because they went through it with their mom. Their mom and dad had been married for, you know, crazy number of years. And he just recently passed away. So they know what it's like. So they're extending the invitation. Now, Miss Maria is back at her penthouse. She done called Jenny, that's the daughter-in-law, to ask her to help her pick out something gold to wear to the party. Now, what's funny is, in their confessional, they're saying the total opposite about each other. Maria is talking about Jenny is the daughter she always wished she had. Jenny is in her confessional talking about she is the mother-in-law I never wanted. I mean, it is hilarious. But what is interesting to see is they do like each other. They were having a ball in that closet. They ain't find a damn gold outfit. Maria ended up wearing a black and white outfit and just put on some gold makeup with some gold lipstick that looked horrible because it blended into her complexion. It was horrible. But Maria seemed like the kind of person that don't give a damn. And then that's fine. If you don't care, that's fine. So they're in the closet and they're having a good time. And Jenny said, now let me tell you something. She said, now Maria gets on my nerves. She said, but I'm the only person outside of the family who's allowed to say that. She said, and I might feel the way I feel about Maria sometime, but nobody else. But I will go to the death for her, you know. And so I said, okay, I get it. They have that unique, they do have a unique relationship, but there is love there. There's respect there. And Jenny's like, hey, what you won't do, like, I can say it, but you can't say it. See, that's how family is. I can say it, but you can't say it. I can talk about my sister like a dog, but I bet you not there nobody else better say nothing. You could be saying the same thing I just said, but you better not. My sister, I can say it. You can't. So they have a really good relationship. So we're getting ready for the canasta party, and we find out that Miss Raquel put her foot in her mouth a few years ago with Oscar's children. Now, Oscar is gay, and Oscar was the first man in Mexico to have children through gay man to have children through surrogacy. And he said he couldn't get it done in Mexico. He flew to LA, and there was a company in LA where he could have his children through surrogacy. So his children are biologically his. And what happened was they were at a wedding, and Raquel said, oh, you're Oscar's children? How does it feel to be adopted? Or something to that effect. And the kids were offended because the kids were like, we're not adopted. And why would you ask us that? And so they told their dad, because their dad, I like Oscar as a dad, because Oscar said, you know, Miss Raquel is coming over. You know she's going through a hard time. I'm not, you know, it's not going to be, it's not a kid's situation, but I want you to come down and speak. And I appreciate that because he said, look, we about to have some adult time. But the polite thing for you to do is speak when company comes in the house. And that's when they told him about what Raquel said and how they were offended by it. And Oscar said, oh, well, wait a minute. He said, I'm sure she didn't mean any harm. He said, I'm not going to force you to spend time with her, but I want you to come down and you're going to speak because that is the polite thing to do. I said, I like this, Oscar, because that's how you raise children. You don't allow children to dictate what they aren't going to do, or who they aren't going to speak to. Now, what I also like, though, is when Raquel got there, he spoke, he was polite, and he was everything. And Raquel said, well, where are the children? I want to meet the children. Oscar said, oh, you met my kids. He said, and you offended them because you said something to them about being adopted. And Oscar's thing is, there's nothing wrong with adoption. Adoption is great. He said, but my children aren't adopted. And I take pride in the fact that those are my children. They biologically are mine. And I take great pride in that. And Raquel, you can see the look on Raquel's face. Raquel was like, what? She said, well, I didn't mean any harm. She said, let me apologize. So what I like is that Oscar addressed it in a respectful manner. And then when she said, let me apologize, he went and got the kids, and he said, look, look, what she said out of ignorance. And again, the word ignorant is nothing disrespectful. It just means you don't know. People have used it in a way that is offensive, but the word just means you didn't know. He said, and she wants to apologize. So we're going to go downstairs, and you're going to speak and be polite, and you're going to give her the opportunity to apologize to you, okay? That damn Raquel. So she apologized to the kids, and she told them how beautiful they were and everything, and then Paulina's son came down, and she said, oh, you're the ugly one. I said, what the fuck? Who says that about kids? What you mean you the ugly one? What is that? And the producer asked her, the producer said, why did you call the kid Noah ugly? Raquel said, which one was Noah? She didn't even know what the hell she had said. And again, Oscar did not throw her under the bus. Oscar did not call her out her name. Oscar didn't even get nasty. He said she didn't mean any harm. He said it was like sort of a joke. Now, the way he tried to explain it away, I was like, that don't make no sense. I don't know what she talking about. She called that baby ugly. It ain't no way to explain ugly. Ugly is ugly. You calling the baby ugly, that's ugly. Ain't no other way to explain it. But again, like I said, I like the way how Oscar handled it. But the little boy, his feelings were hurt. He was like, she called me ugly. And Oscar really tried to explain it away. But like I said, Raquel, forgive her father, for she know not what she does. She don't know what the hell she's saying. And again, I hate to make it sound like I'm just defending her, because I'm not, because she wrong for what she's saying out her mouth. But she don't know what the hell she's saying. That was pretty much what went down. Now, Raquel and her daughter, again, they have an interesting relationship. Raquel's daughter is her manager. And we saw a scene where she was trying to take care of business. And Raquel is in her own little world. The daughter said, look, Mom, I need some quiet. I'm trying to make some phone calls. I'm trying to take care of some business. And Raquel said, okay. And no sooner did she say, okay, she gets on the phone and she's talking to her friends. The dog is barking. Her daughter's like, I cannot get any work done in this house. And I can't get my mama to understand why I can't get no work done in this house. Like, it was funny, but probably not funny for her, but funny for me to watch. And then later on in the episode, Raquel was telling her daughter how Canasta went and what she had said about the adoption and everything. And her daughter was like, Mama, you can't say that about the kids. You can't say that. She said, I don't know what I'm going to do with you. I can't let you out in public by yourself no more. You can't say that about the kids. But that was pretty much how the whole thing went down. We'll see what happens next week, but that was pretty much it. Like I said, this whole sibling rivalry with the brothers is a very interesting dynamic. Like I said, I think it's parts of the story we're not getting, because some stuff just don't make sense to me. But we'll get it. I'm sure by the end of the season, we're going to get it all in. But y'all have a great weekend. Let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments. Peace.